Hello everybody, welcome to our new YouTube channel. We've just decided that because of the current situation it's very difficult for us to have direct contact with our students and their families, and so we've decided that we will start this YouTube channel so that we can keep people engaged and keep them up to date on what's happening in this very dynamic situation we find ourselves in. So our YouTube channel will be focusing on studying in Australia, and we'll look at issues related to that. So all sorts of things we're hoping to bring you over the next month or two, and we'll see how things go from there. So in the links below you will find our website for our company. It's called Study in Australia, and we have offices in Brisbane and in Pakistan, but we'd like to address this to a much broader audience because last year we actually helped students from about 42 different countries to study in Australia. So regardless of where you come from, we'd love to hear from you. Okay, we'd like to begin, the title of today's talk is The Current Medical Emergency and its Impact on International Students. So we're going to mainly focus on those people who are going to Australia to study or thinking of going to Australia to study, as well as those who are already studying in Australia. To give you a brief summary of the current situation we find ourselves in Australia, and I'm actually talking to you from Pakistan at the moment, and I was going to return to Australia, but the airports were closed, so I'm here in Pakistan. I'm being well looked after and very comfortable and good life here, and I feel very, very confident that we can get through this in a good situation. So in Australia, the current death toll as of today, the 25th of March 2020, is 8, and we have about 2,500 cases of the virus. The Australian government has introduced quite stringent methods, and each state has also introduced different protocols to try to regulate the movement of people and the spread of the virus. But the country is basically in lockdown, and most institutions have ceased offering face-to-face classes. Instead, they've gone to online learning, and most businesses in Australia are closed. The supermarkets are still open, I understand, and many Australian people are now losing their jobs, and we've seen vision on television of huge queues outside the Centrelink offices of people waiting to get some sort of support from the government. So it's a very difficult time for many people, both financially and medically. The government's offered very generous financial support to Australians in permanent residents, but at the moment nothing as much is forthcoming for international students. That may change further down the track. International travel into and outside of Australia is virtually impossible at the moment. So, what are the issues that international students in Australia are facing at the moment? So we'd like to look at a number of things here. Issues related to their study, things related to their work, and issues related to international student welfare. So with regards to studies, most universities and colleges have now moved to online learning. So students who are in Australia are able to study through distance learning, through online classes, which allows them to connect with other students in their class as well. So hopefully they still have some sort of support group that will develop as a result of those. For those people thinking or planning on studying in Australia, you need to be aware that most universities and colleges will make the decision in May as to whether or not they will be offering a July start. So we won't really know anything further until then. Some people are keen to continue business as usual and to lodge their applications, and we're very happy and excited to help students to do that, to lodge their applications to study and get an offer. They can then sit on the offer until May and make a decision, or if they feel very confident, they can pay and go ahead. get their confirmation of enrolment form, and we can also get their student visa applications lodged so that when the doors are open again, they can be first in line to come. You just need to be aware that if you're planning on studying in Australia at this time, there are a lot of fraudulent activities happening. It's a time of fear, so people are quite vulnerable. So just make sure that if you're applying to an institution that you're using an agent that's on their website. Right? Then you'll have some compensation if things go wrong. If you go ahead and pay and accept your offer and lodge your student visa application, you just need to be aware of a few things. Firstly, we have no idea how long it will take for your student visa to be granted. It could be 3 months or 6 months. And secondly, if you go ahead and lodge the student visa, it could be assessed at any time. So you need to be sure that your family maintains the money in their account, at least a minimum requirement as they've shown for your costs, to cover your costs for your first year of study. So just make sure the account doesn't drop below that. Because the Australian dollar is fluctuating quite widely at the moment, I think I'd really recommend that you have a 10% buffer on that amount as well. If the July starts don't go ahead, then those people who have an offer in place for July, their offers would be deferred to the third trimester, so September, October start, if your university or college offers that, or for others it would be February, March. So we just, in this time of dynamic change, we just need to be aware that we have to be flexible, and we just do our very best to make sure that everybody is kept in the loop. Regarding work, many people in Australia, as I mentioned before, have lost jobs as businesses have closed. That also has impacted on our international students who are currently studying in Australia. We'll talk more about what they can do to get help in the next section. But you need to be aware that there are some opportunities that are opening up as a result of the virus. Australian farms are very short of farm workers for harvesting of vegetables and fruit. So you might be able to look up the harvest calendar. We can put a link below for the Australian harvest calendar and contact some of those farms so that you can see if they're in need of workers. The Australian government has actually relaxed the work rules for international students who are going to be working on farms. As well, there may be opportunities for people to get jobs stacking shelves in supermarkets, because we've had this crazy run on supermarkets with people panic buying, and so they're very keen to keep the shelves stocked, and there are some job opportunities there for international students. And many of our students are reporting that they're doing great trade with Uber Eats and other food delivery services from restaurants which can only now offer takeaway food. So that's another opportunity that you can check out. On the 13th of March, we saw the government announce that any students who were studying nursing would also have their work rights relaxed so that they can work unlimited hours and help out in hospitals and nursing homes at this very critical time. If you have concerns about your welfare, your first point of call should be your institution. They should be providing support to you in terms of counselling, maybe help with jobs or other things. So please get in touch with them if you're already in Australia. And the other point of contact could be your agent to see what they can do to assist you during this difficult time. But most important of all, we ask you all to practice really good health protocols. Follow the advice you're getting from various government bodies. Make sure you wash your hands for long enough time. They say you should be able to sing happy birthday twice, which will take you to about 20 seconds of hand washing. So wash your hands well and wash them often. Practice social distancing like we are, where you make sure that you have at least 4 square meters around you, so that you don't get too close to other people. Social isolation is also a very good idea, where you basically just stay home. So that will mean you're not exposed to as many people, and your chance of them catching the virus is not so high. Listen to the health updates coming out from the government and take them seriously, because it's not only your life that's at stake, but it's the life of those people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis. So you need to be responsible, look after yourself and look after those around you. Many students are starting to report that they're getting quite depressed and anxious about the situation. So we'd like to give you a few hints about what you can do to preserve your mental health, because that's vitally important. The first thing you should do is stay well connected with your family and your friends, and also stay connected with your university or college. So this social connectivity is very, very important at a time like this, and it will help you to get through. Seek help if you need it, right? There's no shame in asking for help, especially at such a difficult time. So if you need help, ask for help. Ask the institutions, ask your agent, ask your friends, ask the people you're sharing a house with. If you're still working, then ask your workmates, your employer. But don't be afraid to ask for help. Another important thing is it's a really difficult time. There's lots of horrible news around, but please try to have fun, try to laugh. If you can laugh, that improves your immune system. It's been very well demonstrated in research. So have fun and protect your immune system. You should find things that you can do in your home that bring you joy. It might be just sitting around, hanging out and chatting with the people you're sharing with. It could be playing board games or having little competitions, telling stories to each other, telling jokes, creating memes or dancing or singing or whatever brings you joy, because that too will build your immune system. You need to detach from social media. There's so much horror and scary stuff on social media now, and you can just go down this really deep rabbit hole and find it very difficult to find a way to claw your way out of it again. So decide that you're going to just use half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, or whatever works for you. Spend a little time on social media, just dip in and see what's happening, and then get out and do something else. You don't want to get depressed, and you don't want to have issues as a result of all the things that you're seeing and hearing on social media. You also have to realize that a lot of it doesn't hold up. You need to take advantage of this time at home to have some quiet time by yourself. It's sometimes good to have time to reflect, to pray, that people who wish to pray. It's really helpful for us all if we're praying. And meditation has also been shown to be very useful, and not only for yourself, but those things also have an impact that is much broader than what you would even imagine. So please keep those things up. Exercise. Even if you're in a very confined space, please take time to exercise. When you exercise, it releases certain hormones in your body, and it gives you a feeling of more satisfaction. So it will be helpful to you to do that. Eat as well as you can. See if you can get fresh food where possible. I've heard that people are now paying $10 for a cabbage in Australia, which is really crazy. But if you can access good quality fresh food, please do that, because it'll be good to keep your body nurtured and keep it strong. Helping others also is a good way of making you feel better. There's a lot of research around that shows that helping others helps them, but it also helps the people who are offering the help. So make sure you don't put yourself in danger, but you can try exercising some random acts of kindness. So you can do all sorts of things like offering people to do their shopping for them, or leaving little notes in people's mailboxes saying if they need help with anything they can contact you. Just anything you think will help others. And also, in this time with so much depressing news, try to see what you can do to bring happiness to others, to uplift them, to raise their spirits. Because it's easy for you all to sit around and complain and see all the negative points, but it's not very helpful. So, find joy in the little things. I always remember one of our students from Brazil. I said, how come Brazilians are always so happy? And they said, Riborg, we find joy in little things. So try that. Find joy in little things. The weather, anything beautiful that you can see around you. Nature, little acts of kindness that you do for other people or they do for you. That can all bring you joy and raise your spirits. You also need to focus on what comes after this. What are we supposed to be learning from this whole experience? What can we gain from it? So in every challenge, there's an opportunity for us to learn and grow. And I feel that some of the positives that can come out of this very difficult experience is for communities to come together and see the strength that they can have in supporting each other. We saw this in Australia during the bushfires, where all sorts of people at different levels of society, different religions, everything came together and showed what a community can achieve in terms of supporting each other and helping each other out where it's needed. Hopefully one of the things that come out of this is that people discover that there are things that are more important than money, and that social connectivity, how you connect with other people, will become much more important than how much money you can make out of interactions with others. Hopefully there'll be more kindness and more understanding. We all need to recognize that we're all different, but we're all important. And if we're all the same, there would be no good solutions coming out of this. But we all have different strengths, different perspectives to offer. So you can take advantage of this by being willing to listen to other people. Let people challenge your points of view, because that's a good way for you to learn. Only in this way can we come up with more creative solutions to the issues and the problems we're going to be facing in these very rapidly changing circumstances. Most importantly, remember that everyone is a creation of God, and we're here for a reason. So we need to recognize that, and we need to value what each and every human being has to offer for this future that we're faced with. Have faith in God. You're put here for a reason, and through this experience we will discover our life path. So you're here at this time, in this situation, to do something very special. So step up and do what you feel you're here to do, because this is your time to shine. We look forward to bringing you next program, and we welcome any of your comments. Thank you.